I guess we'll go ahead and get started if everybody's ready. Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Dave Wilson, and this is my attorney, Keith Gross, and this is consultant Wayne Dolcefino. I think everybody probably knows most of us. But as a duly elected trustee for the Board of Houston Community College, it's become clear to me that an independent investigation is vital to restore the public's confidence in our college. University of Houston, Brandon Rothenhaus said, "The best sanitizer for any kind of ethical problem is sunlight." And being vocal and being public about it is a way that a lot of these things become resolved. For the benefits of the students of HCC and the taxpayers of Harris County, this investigation must be conducted by an impartial third party who has not been tainted by the appearance of insider dealings. I'm disappointed at the conduct of my fellow trustee, Chris Oliver. The notion of an HCC trustee being convicted of bribery is unacceptable. On July 20th, Chancellor Maldonado announced the hiring of special counsels to do a probe. The probe is about procurement, the practices, policies, and procedures, employment, personnel practices, policies, and procedure, facilities practice, policies, and procedures, and related financial matters. That was the right move for the Chancellor to make. But hiring Vidal Martinez and Gene Locke without the knowledge or consent of the board was the wrong move. They have conflicts of interest. They are political insiders. A whitewash will not help HCC remove the stains of corruption from our image. I asked the board to hire our own independent investigator or have the Texas Attorney General investigate. They chose not to. Therefore, I am personally hiring attorney Keith Gross and Wayne Dolcefino. Keith will handle the legal side of the investigation. Wayne will investigate and review the conduct and ethical processes of our institution. I've known Wayne for decades, and Houstonians trust him. He was known as an equal opportunity offender during the 27 years as investigative reporter at Channel 13. I know he and his firm will not play games, will not have sacred cows, and will not cover up. Dolcefino Consulting has the capacity to really help the college with restoring our credibility. Houston taxpayers spend a lot of money to help us educate our students. They must feel confident and they can trust us to execute our fiduciary responsibility as trustees. We will clean up the mess at HCC, not cover it up. And that's the purpose of this investigation. Keith, is there anything you'd like to add?
I have nothing to say at this time. I expect my participation in this will be limited to filing open records requests should the documents not be tendered voluntarily.
Wayne?
Want to lower those guys or no? You want me to stand? Or would you rather me do?
Right. Whatever's easiest.
I tell you what, I will just stand because I actually can. You can't do anything else. I'm fine. Look, I've told Mr. Wilson and I told the lawyer for the Board of Trustees this morning when I gave him a courtesy call that HCC has a history of hiring people to not tell them what they really need to fix. You can't hire people who've given you money. You just can't. It's not even about whether or not people have integrity. It's about the appearance. Whether it was my firm or another independent firm, my firm hadn't given money to any of these people. I got no sacred cows. We'll go where the information goes. And this is going to be, in many ways, a public investigation. So the public will have my phone number. They'll have our email. And we invite board members, employees, students, anyone, to call us with information that will lead to the kind of cleansing that will really restore the public trust. And I talked to Mr. Wilson a lot about this. There's got to be cred. There's got to be credibility that the person who conducts this investigation didn't give anybody any money, isn't anybody's buddy. I think y'all know I don't have many friends in government, so this should be pretty easy for us. Thanks.
Does anybody have any questions? We'll field a few questions.
Is the investigation going to focus on the administration or fellow board members?
Both.
I'll get out of your way. Let me get out of your way.
No, shoot. It's going to take us wherever it takes us. You know, it's there's not going to be any sacred cows. If it takes us to the board, we'll go to the board. If it takes us to the administration, we'll go to the administration. If there's nothing there, and you know, I can't emphasize enough how, as a trustee, how proud I am to be a trustee. And the fact that this blemish is on this school is an embarrassment to me, and I want to get it fixed because this is a great institution. This institution has a lot of positive things it does for the community, and I want to have it do more positive things in the future. So that is really the reason I'm doing this. I want to improve things. Yes, sir.
How are you paying for this? Are your attorney and Mr. Dolcefino doing this pro bono, or are you cutting out the checkbook? How is it going to look?
I'm cutting checks for this.
And why are you so convinced that there is something to uncover? After all, the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office has, in fact, looked at least Mr. Oliver's conduct, and one would think maybe they looked at it slightly broader.
You know, the FBI has been looking at things around here for 8 or 10 years, and after 8 or 10 years, they finally come up with one issue, and I'm not going to live long enough for the FBI to resolve the issues that are here, so they're too slow. The FBI moves too slow.
Can you give us some specific examples of some contracts or fields that were unsettling to you or disappointing to you other than the Oliver case?
No, I just want to leave it open with the facilities. You know, one of the things that I have an issue with is the bond election and the $425 million we've spent on new facilities and whether or not we got what we spent the money for. That will be one thing we'll be looking at closely.
You're one of the 9 on that board. So what's your personal?
Oh, yeah, I'm one. Let me emphasize that this is not a board action. Let me bring that. Yeah, I am doing this individually. I am one of 9 on the board. Thank you. This is not a board action. This is a Dave Wilson action.
But what is your experience in the time that you've been on the board about meeting with people or hearing from people who may want to taint the process or earn your vote?
I've made it pretty clear how I stand on issues, and I don't have a problem with people coming to offer financial aid to me or campaign contributions. If you look at my campaign finance report, you'll see what I'm talking about. Anybody else?
But I mean, Wayne talked about a culture, and you said the FBI has been looking around here for a while. I mean, have you felt a culture of either pay to play here? Have you seen any of that? What's your personal experience as a trustee?
I definitely feel there's a pay to play culture in the whole city of Houston, Texas, and and I think that there are some people that are on the board that have their personal interest ahead of the college's interest, and I'll just leave it at that.
What is going to be the starting point? I mean, you kind of talked about this from such a general level that it's hard to pinpoint what exactly is going to be where the investigation kicks off. How would you kind of...
Let me see if I can help you with that. So there will be, over the next 24 hours, a series of open records requests. I've already talked to the board counsel. And my history as a reporter with HCC is that they play games with open records requests. I have made it clear to them that if we start playing games and start trying to keep secrets of public records, then the public's going to know about it. So the quicker we all agree to cooperate in this, I think the better it's going to be for everyone else. I will be asking for emails, phone records. We'll be asking for vendor payments, scrutinizing vendors. We'll be looking at campaign contributions. We'll be looking at practices of vendor selection. We'll be looking at the bonds. But, you know, I think you know as a reporter yourself that you tend to go where the information is. We've got some information to start with. I'm not going to talk about that yet, but we got plenty to do. Okay?
In that initial round of records requests, will that focus on facilities, as Mr. Wilson said?
You know, there's going to be requests for emails between certain individuals. There's going to be some contractor payments. There's going to be some generic requests. Like I said, as a courtesy, I communicated with the HCC board counsel, Mr. Hollingsworth, this morning. I have told him it is not our purpose to destroy the institution. It is our purpose to make it more credible in the community, because you can't keep on hiring folks to investigate you who've given people money and are people's buddies and friends. We all have been in this town for a long time. We get it, okay? You can't do that. And so we're going to help them through Mr. Wilson. And I invite all the board members to call me whenever they want. My intent is to help taxpayers feel good about their tax money and to make the students and the employees feel like there's not any special deals going on.
Let me follow up on, I think there was a question about scope.
Yeah.
Is there a particular department? I mean, procurement, is that a place you start, or is it, are you going to drift into the academic side of things? I mean, where?
At this point,
I mean, where are your limits?
yeah, you know what? I don't have a limit. I will go where the information goes. And I don't care who it is. I told Mr. Wilson that if somebody calls me with something on him, then I'll investigate him. Because at the end of the day, while Mr. Wilson and his lawyer buddy are my clients, I don't believe in sacred cows. Once you have one, you end up with a herd pretty quickly. And I think one of the problems here is the perception that there is a herd of cows that are sacred. And that is going to end. I told Mr. Hollingsworth this morning that I hope that the message that any funny business going on should stop. Right? What happened with Mr. Oliver is something that HCC knew was happening with Mr. Oliver for years. I know that because they got evidence years ago about Mr. Oliver. Mr. Oliver was one of the worst kept secrets in town. Okay? He was. And for anyone here to deny it, they're not telling you the truth. And again, this is not, and I promise, Mr. Wilson, it's not about destroying anything. This is about restoring credibility and the public's assurance that this place operates the way it should. And I think hopefully the message will be other folks should sort of learn the sunshine thing too. It kind of works. Okay?
We talked a little bit about just the appearance of any conflict of interest. How can the public trust, given Mr. Wilson as a member of the board is the one putting the bill for the investigation, that this is entirely impartial?
Well, because every client I have understands that I don't work for crooks, and if I got information on Mr. Wilson, it would be part of my investigation. That's the way my firm plays, and that's the bottom line. Obviously, I have a company, and my company charges, and we will share with Mr. Wilson what we find, and then Mr. Wilson and Keith will decide how they want to present it to the board. I have offered to cooperate with the board. If they have something they want to tell me personally, they'll have my business card. They'll know how to find me. And they'll know from the records requests we ask for, which are also public documents, right? You guys can get copies of it, so you can see where we're going as we go. I'm not big on keeping secrets. I want them to understand that this is not a firm where any employee has given money to anyone, right? Nobody.
Let me add something to that, too. If the rest of the board wants to come on board with this investigation and make it an investigation from the board, or if the board wants to turn this over to the Attorney General, I'm for that. I did this because there was no action from the board, and I think that there needs to be some action. So if the board comes on board, which I hope they do, I would love for that to happen, and I would really love to quit paying these two guys and get the AG to come and look at it for free.
But Dave, the system has done something. They've hired 2 attorneys in town. Why are you so convinced? They haven't even started their work. Their first presentation is in a couple hours. Why are you so convinced their work is not valuable?
Those 2 attorneys have both contributed money to Chris Oliver's campaign.
And?
Those 2 attorneys, one of them got over $250,000 last year from the college. When you have that kind of money, how can you be objective? That's what my whole problem. Those are fine gentlemen. This isn't a personal thing with those 2 guys. They're fine guys. I like both of them. I donated money to Gene Luck when he ran for mayor. You know, I like both of them, but that's not what this is about. And those 2 people aren't objective in my mind.
To follow up on a prior question, how exactly do you plan to present the information you find? Is it going to be a report to the board or a public document? Can you pledge to reveal everything that you've come up with in there?
Yes, I will reveal everything. And it'll be a public document, and it'll probably be presented to the board both. It'll be both.
What's your, in following up on that, what's the time frame of this? How long will we be waiting for a public document?
It'll be faster than the FBI moves.
Well, boy, that's...
Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.